actually need to change that. But it's got Roy Bleckert on the. Well, that's the way I did it. I didn't want it. So here we are. You hear that funky slide guitar music coming in every day, and we just got done refabricating stuff. One of the things we're doing a little bit of a retooling, redoing that because hopefully here in the future we're going to be upgrading this stuff and we'll have some little more capabilities. But in the meantime, as you've noticed, we've been on, off, in time, doing tapes and everything else, and kind of a little bit on the AFU side on this whole enchilada that we've been working around, but we're doing some experimenting on. So we got a little bit of the flavor coming in, so we're going to be doing a couple of tests. So we're going to bring Dwayne back on Skype, which we have him rolling in on the deal. So as you do that, put him on the old screen arena on that. See if we can at least get Dwayne up on the split screen, and see if that is working today on the what act. Oh, you want to? Oh, yes, I got to have him up on Skype. Which is there you go. Now is it working? Hey, look at that. So now we're doing that. So there's Dwayne in from Idaho on that. So. Let's see if we can hear your voice today as we're doing a little chiming in and doing that.
So, can you hear me okay now?
Yes, a little bit.
Right. So, you need to get these guys in as a sponsor.
Who's that? I can hardly see. It's kind of distorted on the picture. No, it's distorting worse as you pull it back. Yeah, whatever you're doing, your connection on video isn't that great.
Okay. Well, oh, wait a second. Let me see if I can fix that.
So see if you can fix that while you're doing that. A lot of things going on today. Hammond's going broke. And one of the things that's doing that, the Temecula passed a 1 cent sales tax, Riverside, City of Riverside, a lot of them, this is what chaps my rear end. And it just came out in the Press Enterprise article about that. It's always for public safety, for the kids. We got to pass this sales tax. We do this one time, and it will fix everything. They've only did this 437,000 times, and now Hemet, after 2 years of passing a 1% sales tax, says we are broke, we're going to have to cut cops and firefighters, and the whole 9 yards enchiladas. When are people going to stop believing the BS?
Almost never, because you have a willing group of sheeple that do not pay attention, and their memories are so short, they don't remember that just last year they were told the same bill of goods to go ahead and, we need this emergency. It's like you said, we need an emergency stopgap measure. If you don't do this, we'll have to close the schools. We'll have to lay off firefighters and police. And you know what? As far as I'm concerned, go ahead and lay off some firefighters and police. They're overpaid anyway. So I don't think that to answer your question succinctly, I do not think that people are going to come around ever until, it's the whole not in my backyard routine, NIMBY, right? It doesn't affect me. Doesn't affect me. It doesn't. Oh, wait, now it affects me. Then they pay attention. When they lose their job, or when they look in their wallet and find out that there's not enough cash to make it to the end of the month, and your city's telling you it's going broke because
we got to find. No, I got to stop you right there. We got to find Jesse. We got to find the song. It's too much month at the end of the money.
Yes,
and that's right. And this is my whole premise of what's going. You finally dinged on you, didn't it? No, it was a country song. They did about five, I can't even remember who it was. It was about 5 or 10 years ago. But it was not one of the let's say one of the more bigger popular groups. But that was probably their biggest hit. Was Too Much Month at the End of the Money, and that's why I put this into context, because Hemet is just one of the first dominoes that's falling off. I want to put this out on the table to all the to everyone that's talking, listening. That $1,200 stimulus checks, Payment Protection Employers Act, and $2 trillion in stimulus, and $54 billion in debt for California, shorthole in their budget, and it's going on and on. I mean, take any state; they're all state municipalities and stuff. Most of them were in trouble, even in this good economic times. With COVID-19 and all the crapiola that they've passed on that, they are so upside down, they don't know what's going to happen. So either one of two things is going to happen, in my view, or that I can, and maybe there's some more, that's why I'm throwing it out. Either we are going to, three things. Either we are going to be facing tons of tax increases from the federal government to the state to our local municipalities, or all the stimulus, if they print the money, your dollars will buy you less and less and less. So your standard of living is going down. Either way, they're either going to take it out of you in taxes or inflate it, or you're going to be put in debtor's prison if they borrow it from the likes of China or whoever's got this $3 trillion or $2 trillion in cash laying around. Because they have no money. Governments, I've said, have no money. In our representative republic, the only thing they can do is print money, which devalues the currency, which takes away the overall wealth of everybody in there.
Oh, wait. Let me stop you. Hold on a second.
Okay.
They've got money. They've got your money.
Well, yeah, no, they don't have. They don't have money unless they use a gun to take it from you.
That's what I was going to say. So at the point of a gun, you go out and earn a paycheck. That money is yours, okay? To use the analogy, this cup right here is 32 fluid ounces. It will only hold 32 fluid ounces. Now, if I take 16 ounces out of this cup, that is 50%. That means it only has 16 ounces left. If I take all of it, all 32 ounces out, it holds nothing. Now, at the end of the day, what's happened is the 32-ounce crowd is down to the last 4 ounces in the cup. And they don't realize it, but as you aptly stated, they got too much month at the end of the paycheck.
Yep.
And if you think, if just as we were starting to get out of that mess, okay, and we were going great guns, just as you were starting to see some daylight, these guys pulled the rug out from everybody, and now they want to plunge everybody back into darkness. And the reason being is because they want to go to their big daddy federal government to get the emergency relief fund to give back to the people because they're broke. You guys, Hemet, of all the places on the planet in California, Hemet, I understood Stockton going broke, the city of Stanton, Los Angeles probably should be broke. They should be filing Chapter 11. But, I don't know. They play such funny games with the reports on how much money they've got. You never really know the truth until it's too late.
Exactly, and I think you're giving them a little more credit in 4 ounces left in the 32-ounce cup than what the situation is out there, because man, again, this is what has worried me about this recovery from and this is what has been different about this recovery since the Great Recession of '08, '09, '10. And we've started pulling out of it about 14, and it started really cranking up, probably 17, 18, on into that. And it's really been, since Trump's come in the last 2 years, it's really been cranking up like a son of a gun. In that situation, as you notice, most of our municipalities have been still talking about we're still in debt, we're still short of money. Now, you go back to prior times, let's say the 05, 06, 07, 08 area, just before the last one, just before the housing bubble burst. And I remember going to City of Moreno Valley City Council meetings, Riverside County, State. We got so much money here, we don't really even know how to spend it all. We were in the good economic times, and we were, they were looking for things to do. In fact, they were, politicians. Oh well, let's do all this frivolous stuff, and that's a debate for a different day. But the discussion wasn't, well, we're, $500 million in debt, or we can't pay in pensions. Maybe we got to float a bond. We'll pay it back twice on this to do this. We're short here. We can't afford to do this. We can't do that. Da 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 da. We can't fund police. We can't fund fire. Back in those days, they were adding cops on. They were adding firefighters, buying fire trucks. Hellcat. Hellcat Invader military looking stuff to go into that. We were just having. It was party time, extraordinaire. And this recovery.
Well, see, you just hit on
Yes.
the crux of the situation, didn't you? You said it at the beginning of this. They spent the money because it was coming in. So they don't have a revenue issue. They have a spending issue. And what they need to do is not buy the new fire trucks, not hire people they don't need. What they should be doing, if they want to fix it, what they should be doing is going and courting some major manufacturing businesses to try to come in there and give them some huge tax breaks to stay there for 10 years or whatever it takes to get them in there, to get some manufacturing jobs, to get everybody off their butt, to get some money back in the system. And then you get that money in the system through payroll taxes and through the money spent by the people that earn it. But they haven't figured that out, obviously. They still haven't figured out that. The only thing they figured out in the state of California is how to increase taxes. So to return to my analogy, once you get to 100% or 32 ounces of a 32-ounce cup, you're at 100%. You can only take that much out of that cup. Now, if they've only got 4 ounces left and you take the remaining 4 ounces, what are you going to do when you need more than the rest of 4 ounces? You can only take that much that's left. And the people,
Did you hear that? Did you hear that little part of that interrupted you here a second ago?
No.
Oh, okay. Keep going.
So, try it again.
No, go ahead. Just keep going.
So I think what you're looking at is you've got a mass exodus out of California, and we see it up here. You see too many people coming into Idaho, too many people going to Texas, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, points east, Florida, wherever they're going. And it's due to economic situation. It's due to lack of jobs or lack of future jobs or lack of just plain old good old revenue. So what are you going to do? I mean, what you have left are the people that were on the public dole, the people that want the quick money. Oh, give me my $1,200 stimulus check. I mean, what are you going to do with that? $1,200 might get you through half a month, maybe a month. then what? I mean, really, what are you going to do after that? So the big plan is just to sit home and take a stimulus check. That's your big mission. I mean, you know, the wheels are coming off that cart and it's going downhill on fire. I don't know how you're going to recover from that. Other than these people have to understand that stimulus is going to create some pain. And the pain's going to come in either short revenues coming in taxes or increased taxes for the people that are earning, or and they'll do that through the businesses. They'll raise taxes. They'll raise your gas tax again. They'll raise your vehicle registrations again, you know, because how dare you have any money to go out and buy a brand new vehicle?
Yes, that's the whole enchilada on the deal. So hopefully we're gonna hit there and play. We're gonna play a video here.
Oh, I've got a beating heart in front of me now. Not anymore. Okay.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Click on the share, the little thing below it. There you go.
So we got that. So we're gonna try and play a little video of that. Oh. Hit that one. See, I hit the wrong one. No, we're gonna play a. So it should. Oh. Okay. So now it should work, right? Okay. We're gonna try playing a little video here on that as we're trying to work through our little technical difficulties of going on here on that. So. Just give me a thumbs up, Dwayne, up or down if you can hear this thing, and Jesse's going to play with the settings a little bit on that. So here we go. Why is it not? Well, we don't hear it. I'm not hearing it. Here we go.
Well, it's a busy night here in Old Town Scottsdale. Some of the bars and clubs are still closed, but as you can see behind me, some are open, and there are crowds of people. We spoke to some who say they've been waiting to get out and socialize, not really concerned about the virus, but others are still very nervous. They are staying home, and they just think people aren't taking this seriously anymore. Despite coronavirus cases rising in Arizona, people are hungry to get back to life as we know it.
I'm glad that they were lifted because it gives us something to do.
The state's stay-at-home order ended Saturday. The scene in Old Town Scottsdale was lively once again.
I would prefer things to go back to normal. You know, obviously there are regulations and steps to take to make sure that it doesn't become a problem again.
Restaurant and bars are encouraged to limit capacity. In many places, people were separated by tables. Workers were wearing masks, but customers, not so much.
I have no more fear than contracting the flu, a cold, a virus that they haven't named yet.
Some were concerned with the easing of restrictions.
You go to Walmart and everybody's on top of each other, and people in the bars are high-fiving, and people you don't even know, and they try to get too close.
Just down the street, Scottsdale Fashion Square opened their doors today, along with other Valley indoor malls.
We had people waiting in line at 8 o'clock this morning to make purchases.
Lines snaked around some stores as they limited capacity, with lots of cleaning beforehand.
The scrubbing of the tables, the restrooms, the handrails, the elevators.
Casinos and movie theaters also got the green light to reopen. But as life continues on, many are urging others to still take the virus seriously.
So there you go on the enchilada on that. Could you hear the video, Dwayne?
Yeah, the audio was good. The actual video portion was a bit
yeah, I think that's on that, but
compressed.
I was mainly concerned if you could hear the audio.
Yeah, I got the audio.
Okay, that's all I'm concerned about. So this is the next thing. We only got about 3 or 4 minutes left on this segment of that. But stay-at-home orders. Tulare County up in Central California, and they've had a problem with the nursing homes and stuff of that, and Newsom specifically mentioned them. But they said the hell with it. Their board of supervisors passed it 3-2, but that's all it takes, is you just have to have a majority. They said, we're going to phase 3. Businesses in Tulare County are open. We're not enforcing anything. da 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 da. Now they didn't go as far as, like I said, to have the county sheriff tell the state to get the hell out, but they basically said you're kind of on your own with the state. But they said we're not enforcing any more regulations. Arizona's opened up, Florida's opened up, Georgia's opened up. Their stats have went down. Places that are locked down, the stats are going up on coronavirus cases. So again, it's my contention there is no correlation, or there is very little, if any, evidence between masks, lockdowns, and anything in the spread or non-spread of coronavirus with the data that we have as real-world studies, not hypothesis or studies or projections or anything else.
Well, and I agree. I mean, you have to look at what has happened with the Fauci crowd is it's become hyperbolic. I mean, you can't trust somebody that spouts these projected losses and doom and gloom, and it doesn't even get 5% of what they projected. And then what they do, of course, is they spin that off and say, well, it's because we made the decision to do social distancing. Well, you know what? None of that applies, because when you look at the control group, which is Sweden. Sweden's a control group in this. They did virtually almost nothing. They did do a little bit of stuff, but what they did is they said, here are the high risk categories. Here's what you can do to mitigate your risk. Be aware and go about your business. Now, Sweden had the lowest infection rate in Europe. So the whole mask, hand sanitizing, all of the BS that they made us do here obviously didn't affect them for whatever reason. So, I look at them as Sweden as the control group. The control group tells us that everybody's okay, then everybody
Okay, we're just about ready to hook up with KMET on the deal. So, there we go on that. Maybe Sean's asleep. Oh, see if did he hook up? See if Sean could talk to me.
I don't know. Can I talk to you?
Yes, I can actually hear you today through my headset where I couldn't yesterday. So, Dwayne, hang on. We're going to bring on Dr. Jeff Barke. He's on coronavirus, but we only got him for 10 minutes, so I'm just going to kind of roll through that real quick, and then we'll come back to you at about 5:45. But you can just hang on Skype, just kind of lay low down when we come back on KMET and get that get a Barke in and out, because we only got him for like about 10 minutes, so I got to go kind of quick on that. So
no problem. I can hear Sean too.
Right. Yeah. That's why I think we got the issues semi figured out of that stuff. Of that. So this will be the next experiment to see if you can hear. That's why I want to get you on. So if you can hear Dr. Barke on the phone while he's on the deal, so when we come back on that. But we'll be that. Dr. Barke is another one who is telling you the real way things are going on this whole enchilada on coronavirus, and we're that's the
about 30 seconds, guys.
That's the there have been a few doctors and stuff that have been up on the gas on this stuff. So he's one of the guys that really's got his act together on this and isn't being backed down across the old guys with the.
Okay, here we go. 10 seconds.
KMET 1490am.com and download your free phone app today. IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
That funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday at 5:30 on KMET on the radio. We got this guy for a very short period of time, so I'm going to bring him right on. And but he's one of the doctors out there that has been steadfast and on that, and not telling you the way this stuff really is on coronavirus and what you should be worried about and what you shouldn't be worried about. But he's Dr. Jeff BARKE. He's down in Orange County, and I know time's short, so we're going to get him right on. Are you there, Dr. BARKE?
I am. Thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
You got that. I met this guy down at the rally, about a week and a half ago at Riverside County Board of Supervisors. And, man, you knocked the crowd out. But just since this is your first time on the show with us on IE Newswire Daily, give us a little brief overview of what you see with coronavirus. What should we be afraid of and what should we not be afraid of?
Well, I don't think there's really anything much to fear. So as you alluded to, my name is Dr. Jeff BARKE. I'm a board-certified primary care doctor. I practice down in Orange County, and I've been practicing for over 30 years. I think fear is more dangerous than the virus. So what we're seeing is certainly if you're in a high-risk group, so if you're old, 70, 75 or older, and or you have pre-existing conditions that are significant, you've got COPD, emphysema, heart disease, and so forth, that can certainly be a problem for you. But for the younger folks, this virus really doesn't do much. So especially with our children, you can count almost on one hand the number of kids that have died as a result of this virus. Certainly there's a higher risk of a child dying in a car accident or drowning in a swimming pool this summer than they are from being hurt by this virus. So unfortunately, though, we've gone about this all the wrong way. We've taken the healthiest with the strongest immune systems, our children and our young adults, and we've quarantined them, and we've prevented them from developing immunity that ultimately would protect the most vulnerable, older Americans and those with pre-existing conditions. And that's the wrong way to go about treating a respiratory virus. And unfortunately, we've made a big mistake. Originally, when we wanted to quarantine people to so-called flatten the curve, it made some sense in a limited way, especially in New York, New Jersey, and for a time in Seattle, because the healthcare systems were being overwhelmed. But now, healthcare system has plenty of capacity, yet we're on day something like 60 of the quarantine, and depending on what state you live in, there's discussions about the quarantine going on longer and longer and longer, and I think that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it seems like New York, where this has been ground zero in the United States on this, where most of the deaths are around the New Jersey, New York, Connecticut metro area, they're loosening up more than California, which is basically, not to make light of it, but you would say in comparison just in the statistics, breeze through this. There seems to be no correlation between lockdowns, no lockdowns, anything else. And I learned what you did in high school biology, the same thing. If you don't get the herd immunity, if you don't let this thing spread, it's eventually going to get stronger and stronger and wipe you out even more on the backside of this.
You're absolutely right. And unfortunately, you'll never get to herd immunity if you keep the healthy herd quarantined, and that's exactly what we're doing. And not only that, but we're putting off limits some of our beaches and parks and recreation areas. We're telling people they must stay inside. And then the crazy part is we're saying anytime you're in public, you should put a mask on, which makes no scientific sense whatsoever. I drove home from work today down PCH. It's a beautiful day in Southern California, in the 70s at the beach. I see people jogging along PCH with a mask on. And that makes no sense. It's just I don't get it. It's fear. Or the worst is somebody driving in their car by themselves with a mask on and gloves. It just cracks me up. I want to take a picture of them.
Yes, it is. And I said down there, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I said at the supervisors meeting last Tuesday, I said, my recommendation is get rid of the mask because you're breathing in your own CO2 all the time. And it's causing, it may cause a lack of oxygen to your brain, and we need you making the best decisions we can for all of us right now on that.
Well, I think there's some truth to that, and masks have a very, very limited role to play. Certainly, if you're an ICU nurse or doctor and you're working with some critically ill patients that are either intubated or using some aerosolized material to treat them, it makes perfect sense to wear a mask. But those folks are used to wearing a mask, and they have masks that are properly fitted for their face along with other personal protective equipment. But for the average person wearing a mask, it's almost it's almost comical. It's like the Babylon Bee or something, where you see people with these homemade masks, and they're uncomfortable, and they're scratching their face, they're rubbing their mask, they're adjusting it here, there, and everywhere, and it just renders the mask, to the extent that it is even protective somewhat, it just renders it completely useless altogether. So I think the idea that the general public should be wearing masks doesn't make any sense scientifically, doesn't make any sense logistically. We just saw the CDC came out with guidelines for opening up the school. And again, I swear I thought that was from the Babylon Bee, because one of the recommendations is that children should be wearing masks in school. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Can you imagine a first or second grader with a mask on? How long will it take until that mask turns into a slingshot that's shot across the room?
Yeah, you're reading my mind.
I mean, it'll never happen. Plus, opening up the schools, we're talking about the healthiest, most resistant people for this virus. So the idea that we should limit what the kids do just doesn't make any sense. Social distancing of children, number one, they're not going to social distance. And number two, there's no reason to do that, because they are the healthiest people around, and they don't need to be social distancing.
Exactly. That's what it seems like in this whole deal. We didn't protect those in the nursing home where this seemed to be ground zero of that, or high density deals, places, or where it could spread, prisons and things like that. But the schools, I see no reason, I don't see any credible evidence at this point or anywhere where we have seen where the schools should be closed. In fact, we are probably, like you're explaining, we are probably doing ourselves more harm than good by keeping the schools closed, because they're not developing that herd immunity. They're the best population we have to develop that herd immunity to build up all of our defenses against this thing. And that's usually how these things get wiped out.
You're absolutely right, but unfortunately, when I say things like that, I'm called crazy. People threaten that they want to call the medical board and have my license taken away, call my hospital and have me removed from the medical staff, not because they disagree. And I'm happy to argue the merits of my perspective, but then I get attacked viciously, personally, not just the merits. And that's the tolerant left on display, unfortunately.
It is, and that's what I say. If they can't beat you on the facts, then they just start yelling louder at you of that. And I get this all the time. Well, you're not an expert on this, but I've had plenty of them on. And the next one in the line is Dr. Jeff BARKE, our guest we have on right now on that. That's reiterating these same things. And I mean, what you're saying just makes, if nothing else, it makes common sense. And like I said, anybody that's studied biology in a high school or junior high situation or anything would know. I mean, just, that's me. I'm no medical expert or give medical advice, but I'm thinking these people are, when you hear Dr. Fauci and all these guys said, these guys are nuts.
Yeah, well, here's the problem. First of all, there are experts saying exactly what I'm saying, except they're shut down and they're attacked. So there's virologists and epidemiologists and physicians like myself that are saying exactly this, but we're being attacked. So my colleague, Simone Gold, who's both a physician and a Stanford-trained attorney, she and I got together and decided that we were going to write a letter to President Trump explaining the devastating effects that are occurring as a result of not just shutting down our economy, but shutting down our healthcare system. So we sent a letter off yesterday to the president. There were 600 physicians that signed that letter, and we're continuing to gather signatures. We should go over 1,000 by the end of the week, and we're hoping to double that in short order. So we're really representing the voice of thousands and thousands of doctors across the country that just want their common sense voice to be heard, and to allow President Trump and other policymakers that are making these decisions to not just get one perspective from Dr. Fauci and company, but rather hear from the physicians around the country.
And just one request before we let you go here. Can you send me or give me a link to that letter so we'll post it up on our site and do that? But I know your time is short, but I'll give you about a minute or two to wrap it up on this and tell anybody. I'm going to give you the floor and let you speak for about 2 minutes, whatever you want.
You got it. Well, listen, first of all, thank you so much for giving me this platform to speak to your audience. I think it's so important for people to hear the truth and spread the truth and stand up proud and push back on government tyranny. If you want to follow me, you can go to my Facebook site. That's Jeffrey BARKE, or I'm also now on Instagram, Prescription for Liberty. That's RX4FOR Liberty. And I'm also on Twitter, RX_for Liberty, RX_for Liberty. So I'm trying to get out there. I don't really know what I'm doing on social media. My daughter, my wife is helping me, but I'm trying to do what I can to spread the word, to give voice to other physicians that feel similarly, and that can be echoed by average citizens that are reading and hearing what we're saying and saying, that just makes a lot of common sense. And I don't agree with some of this government tyranny that's taking away our liberties. Since when is the government restricting the people? It's supposed to be the other way around, and it's time that we push back on our government officials and say enough is enough. It's time to open up the states.
You got it. Thanks a lot, and we'll do this again real soon, Dr. Jeff BARKE.
You got it. Thanks for having me. You guys take care.
You got it. Thanks a lot. That was Dr. Jeff
Bye-bye
BARKE from the Orange County Medical Academy. He's a physician and somebody who said, again, I go back and forth on this and, the comments and that. It's not, there's plenty of experts that have this opinion. And as I said, we don't have to go on projections anymore. We don't have to go on the real world stuff or, projections or maybe this could happen or a million deaths or stuff. We have enough evidence of what is actually happening. And I think that Israeli professor that did the study about 2 weeks ago that looked at everything, he said lockdown, no lockdown, anything in between. Coronavirus has the same 70-day cycle. It starts out at nothing, it peaks about 40 days, and you end at about 70. And it doesn't really matter what you do or what you don't do. It pretty much runs its course. So we'll see if we got Dwayne back on the line. Are you still there?
Yes, sir.
So what's your reaction to all of that from Dr. Jeff BARKE?
I couldn't agree more. I think you already know that I've been saying this since day one. And I really do think that I'm hearing myself back. So need to do something with the audio.
Okay. Just keep
talking.
talking.
I think it's really a situation where we have to get to the truth. Everybody spouts facts, but the truth is this. Just like you just quoted, it doesn't matter. The flu's going to come and go every year. It runs a 70-day cycle. Doesn't matter what you do, it's going to run its course. And we need to just mitigate that as much as possible and educate people. But the truth of the matter is, this was used to shut down and kill the economy. It was almost largely successful. And now you've got people banging at the door wanting to get back into things and wanting their lives back. And they've had enough of the tyrannical garden gnome Fauci.
Of that, yes. I there is no better example. I mean, we played the clip yesterday of Ron DeSantis, so that where the press was jumping. Oh, how could you open Florida beaches up on spring break? You're going to kill all the kids and yada, yada, yada. And I mean, he lit back up into them and said the same thing. When we did yesterday and on and on and on. And even Trump, I'm going to criticize him on that. When Brian Kemp on April 21st said, Georgia is opening back up, and he came and he said 2 days in a row, I strongly disagree with Brian Kemp of Georgia. Well, again, in Georgia, the cases and stuff have went down like they have in Florida and Texas and everywhere else that is, their death rates have went down. Well, cases may be going up. Cases will go up. Cases will go. There will never be no less coronavirus cases. The chart can only go up and then level off. It can never go back down. Once it stops, that will be the end of it. So if you're arguing about cases will either increasingly or stop. They will never decrease. And, that's what people, sometimes I don't, maybe they don't, I don't know if they understand the charts or something, but, it goes back to the old Mark Twain deal. Figures never lie, but liars figure. It's the way you present the statistics. If you present them in an honest manner and really look at the data, you'll likely come out with a successful conclusion. If you manipulate the data or try and do it, as Sheriff Chad Bianco said on Fox News, this is all about control. There's no reason for this on that. Then you have a situation like this. You're potentially trying to break the greatest economy in the history of the world and nation and bring it to its knees.
Right, and they, like I said, they were almost successful at it. But the one thing they didn't count on is that we now have the internet, and you can't lie en masse like you used to be able to do and get away with it because of the 6-second news cycle that we're currently in. When you say something, 72,000 people every minute are tuning in, looking at this, and of those 72,000 people, guess what? 10,000 of them are looking up now to see, is this the truth or am I being sold a load of garbage? And, the studies, the facts, the figures, here's the empirical data. In every place that was reopened, or in Sweden's case, that was never closed, all of those measures, all of the extracurricular masks and hand washing and quarantining did not decrease the infection rate. In fact, it increased it. Now, I don't care what numbers you look at, but that's the truth of the matter. You can manipulate the facts, you can manipulate the numbers, but the truth of the matter is less people were harmed by this, by states going back open early, or those areas that didn't go into the quarantine situation and didn't panic and didn't give into the fear originally.
Yeah, Dale writes in, I heard this doctor before and he's spot on that. Yeah, and it is. It's part of the lexicon of this. And it's just like Sweden. They're going, well, Norway and Finland didn't have as much of that, but yeah, they got it. Sweden admitted, just like we haven't really admitted it, but Sweden said, yeah, we missed the nursing home thing, and that's where most of the deaths have been. Most of the deaths in the United States have been in the nursing homes because we didn't isolate that population, and that's where this thing the national attention from it started with the 24 that died not only in the nursing home, in the hospice end of the nursing home up in Washington, and started kicking this whole thing off. And that's why our death rate per 100,000, I think, is very similar to the United States and Sweden, because they both, or at least in Sweden's case, admitted we were doing that. And no one other than New York, where this has been ground zero, 5,000 of those that were in nursing homes that had COVID-19 got kicked back to the nursing homes before they were fully cured, or before they were fully over the incubation period and over the disease, and then it started going like wildfire. It's like we're living in this bizarro world.
Right. It's like we can't add 2 and 2 and come up with the correct answer anymore because, there's these statistics. You know what? You can staticize all you'd like. The bottom line is you open your eyes and you say, wait a second, we've got an aging at-risk population that's locked up in these convalescent homes or assisted living places, whatever. These people are the high risk.
Yes.
Those are the places that should have received all of the attention, and the rest of us healthy people allowed to continue with our lives. And here's another fact. And this is all when I was looking at your video from Arizona. It's not about what you get to tell me or what I am allowed to do. I make that choice. You, the government, or anyone else, do not get to make that choice for me. And this is something that the people have pushed back against in Texas, Arizona, Georgia, Florida, all here too. In Idaho, we're finally back to full swing. But, it's not about you getting to have the authority to tell me that I have to stay in my home, because I'm going to tell you to go pound sand. and most people will. It was reasonable to have an expectation that maybe we should just kind of walk this back and be cautious for a couple of weeks. Because as you recall, they told us it had a 14-day cycle. And just like with taxes, we're only going to do this for 14 days. Well, once they locked the friggin' gate, guess what? They just kept everybody in. And you look at Newsom in California. This guy's dumber than a box of rocks, but he's got one thing he wants to do. He's trying to use this as a cash cow to get more money, more federal dollars to, boost up the ailing economy in California. And I think that's his big master plan. And it's not going to work. You know what works? Get people back out in the beaches, the restaurants, the bars, the movie theaters. Working again.
Not only from our mental health aspect to it, but just from the economic standpoint to it. The more, and that's what Ron DeSantis was saying yesterday, and I hope more of the governors of that open up. I think what basically the Tulare County folks up there said that, and that's almost 300,000 people over there. It's not, it's not MODOK, which only has 9,000 people up there, which people were trying to cry. They said, this is stupid. We're doing more harm. It's not only stupid, we're doing more harm. It's again, the cure can't be worse than the disease. And that's what we're doing with this whole situation out there. Just want to give a big shout out to Diane, Joseph, Ann, Carol, and Robert, and all of those that say hi. Yeah, we're listening to that, and we're getting back. Glad you're hanging with us on this while we're maneuvering stuff around on that stuff. So you just be patient here for a few days on that while we get things kind of settled back in on the technical aspects too, but we'll work it all out. And when we do come back, we're going to come back bigger, better, and stronger. I think you're going to really like what we have in store for you coming up on the show on this. But that's what's going on with this whole deal. And we just got to get back to reality on this whole enchilada. We got to stop running. And it just sometimes it just makes me want to bang my head against the wall. No matter how hard you try, no matter what you do, there's risk in everything. Bad things are going to happen. We're all eventually going to die. That's not preventable. We may be able to extend lives, but there really is no such thing, if you really want to analyze it, there's no such thing as saving a life. You may be extending a life, but you may, ultimately that's not the case. So, we have to look at what's the greater overall good in these things. And I think that's what we have lost a lot on the perspective of this thing. And it's kind of like what we do on the on this thing is, let's just all get back and grounded and back in reality to this. We just got about a couple minutes left, so I'll let you have the floor.
Well, I think you need to continue to articulate this idea and bring more people into the fold that agree. And the pressure and the weight of evidence that supports how we all thought from day one is mounting day by day. It's very difficult to try to contradict, real world evidence, which, you look in the case of Florida, Governor DeSantis, he so aptly told, the reporter, hey, look, I've got a more aging population than New York. And not only do I have less, infection and less deaths per capita, I'm fewer even in the southern states. So that's, you're doing something right. We need to point this out. Look, we can say this. It was a mistake to overreact. Next time they try to pull this garbage, you point a finger in their face and say, not again. We listened to you last time. You're not pulling the wool over our eyes again. You got a sick bunch of people. You go take care of them just like you would your cows on a dairy. If you got a sick cow on the dairy, you go put it in the hospital pen and you take care of it. You don't quarantine the entire herd because you got one sick cow. That doesn't make any sense.
Thanks a lot for being on, Dwayne, on that. We'll do it again real soon.
Take care.
You got it. Uh, that was a little bit of fun on the whole enchilada. Yeah, we got about a minute left on the old deal. Again, there you go with the thing. We got another expert in there that says, we're doing more harm with this stuff than we're doing good. We're not using sound logic. We're not using real science. We're not really using real data on this whole enchilada, and we've got to start on the trip here. We got to start tripping this stuff in a little bit better, and we got to start being more realistic, and we got to start doing what's best for all of us. Because if we don't, I would hate to be the ones who look back on history and they're pointing to us to crash the greatest country in the world. We'll be back tomorrow on Fast Friday with Stephanie. See ya.